another episode of the Miami Real Estate Show for the second time. Dina Goldentayer. Dina.
Hi.
It's my pleasure to have you again. It's been a while,
yes.
But I'm going to say it before you say it. Dina Goldentayer, when I interviewed her 2-3 years ago, she was already a top producer. Now you've come a long way since the last time I had you in the show.
Thank you.
How many, what's the volume in terms of listings that you have right now?
Right now I have $225 million in listings.
That's $220 million in residential listings. It's not
right.
a couple of commercial properties, all right? So how many listings? About how many listings?
I have about 30 listings.
30 listings, all right? What surprised me the most is that not only you have that many listings, luxury listings, but that you sell them fairly quick.
Sometimes.
Okay. All right. It takes a while, but
Yeah.
but the luxury market takes longer.
Yes.
But almost every week or every other week, I'm getting an email from you, which we're going to talk about emails.
Sure.
And just sold, just listed, just sold. So tell me exactly where your business is today, and then I want to go back to your beginnings.
Sure. My business right now really is focused on the luxury and ultra luxury marketplace. I certainly take listings that are below $1 million as well, but I typically take those with a teammate who's able to focus on them the way that I can focus on a $20 million listing. Most of my business, I would say 80% of it is in Miami Beach.
What area? South, Mid, North?
Pretty much all of the beach, from South Beach all the way to Bell Harbor.
Okay. You also have not only condominiums, but you have very, very good houses on the water.
I have a good balance between condos and houses, yes.
Okay. So what are you doing today to achieve that massive success? Tell me your 1, 2, or 3 top tips.
Well, from when we met 3 years ago, which was an amazing time for me. You were actually the first one to kind of put me on camera. Thank you for that.
Right, my pleasure.
That has been a game changer. What I'm really focusing on is sellable product, beautiful product, and property that I can be excited about.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I just got an email today from you.
Yes.
What is it, a 16 or 20? What?
We dropped, the original list price was 18.5. We're now down to 16.9.
That is a house on the beach.
That's
model.
a house on the Venetian Islands.
In Venetian Islands,
yes.
Right? All right, so this is where you are today, 220 million over about 30 listings. One of the top, I would say, 10 or 5 listing agents in Miami in terms of volume.
Definitely in Miami Beach. For sure.
Okay.
And Miami Beach tends to have the most expensive price points, so naturally that translates to our whole city.
Okay. So now let's go back to the beginning. This is where you are today.
Sure.
How do you get started in the real estate business?
Well, also to answer your earlier question, I just realized I skipped it. From 3 years ago to today, I'm still very much a marketing agent. That was really the theme when you and I talked about 3 years ago, that I presented myself as a marketing agent as much as I do a real estate agent. I have just taken that and amplified it. I still very much believe that I'm a marketing agent.
And many of you guys today who are in coaching one-on-one with me or in our online training, what do I say we do? We are in the business of marketing. It's not real estate. Clients, buyers, and sellers can do that on their own, right? We're in the marketing business. We got to go from being a secret agent to a real estate agent. And the only way to do that is what Dina does, right? Marketing very, very well.
I've been in the business for 14 and a half years. I've always focused on the Miami Beach to Sunny Isles marketplace. I'm of Russian background, so I do some business in Sunny Isles where there's a lot of Russians. Almost 15 years.
Important. Top agents, you see that they focus in a very specific area, right? That's the way they get to know that area and be able to communicate their knowledge. Not only that, but where are you from? Russia, right? So we talk about the law of probability and possibility, right? Is it possible for me to do business with a Russian? Yes or no? Is it possible? Yes. Yeah. But what's more probable for me that I'm from Venezuela? Venezuelans, right? Russians live where? Sunny Isles. Venezuelans, for example. You see, so there is a pattern. It doesn't mean that everybody lives in the same area, but it's much easier once you understand her clients. It's very difficult for me to compete, even though I've been doing this for 22 years. Right? So at the beginning, when you got to Miami, what year was it? How many years ago?
I've been in Miami for 15 years, and when I first got my license, I thought listings were too tough.
Okay,
I thought
okay.
listings were expensive. You have to spend money marketing them. I only focused on buyers. So my first year in real estate, I was literally a buyer's agent, and it took me a little while to realize that you have to list to last.
Okay. Right, so you got started. Remember your production in your first year?
I had a great first year
Really?
because it was 2005.
Okay.
So it was the time where you walk into a showing with a contract. If the client likes it, they had to write it up right there.
Right.
It was that crazy year before everything changed. My first year in real estate, I made $220,000.
That is very good.
It was crazy. I
That
was
was-
23 years old,
Okay.
and then it changed completely.
Okay, all right. All right, so what about the second year?
The second year is when things went bust, and my income went down 80%.
Okay.
And yeah, I partnered up with someone in my office because I realized that being a buyer's agent was not gonna be a long-lasting strategy in real estate.
So like most people in the good times, you got lucky. Like I got lucky in those years. In the first year, you were in the good buyer's market.
I mean, at that time, I still worked my network. You know, I still had to close deals, so I don't necessarily believe that I was that lucky. I still worked hard. But when the market's good, yeah, we all work a little less and make a little more.
So 80%, that's, I mean, we're talking about what, in production, it's less than $80,000, $70,000 a year.
That's correct.
What about the third year? Remember the third year?
The next 3 years for me, third, fourth, fifth, I kind of leveled out. I was making about the same. I was really figuring it out how to, you know, be a realtor no matter if we're in a boom or bust cycle. So the first 5 years were, you know, transitional years.
Okay. So you also represented 87 Park. You also got into the
Yes,
pre-construction sales.
I got into new development very early in my career. Of course, at that time, it was my early 20s. I was focused in a South Beach office, so I worked on a little boutique South Beach building with just 27 units. The first few projects that I worked in, probably the first 5, they all failed. The first new developments, one went bust. One
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that one. Okay.
Yes, one changed from a condo hotel to a hotel. Just, you know, it took me a while to actually start making money in new development because so much of our fate is in the developer's hands. And if the developer changes their mind and doesn't want to build the building or market conditions change, well, you worked those 2 years and you really made nothing, you know?
Jesus, I didn't know that part.
87 Park was the pinnacle of my new development career.
Right.
I only joined that project 3 years ago. And obviously, that's a developer who knows what he's doing, and that project is a massive success with a $500 million sellout.
Yeah. So what did you learn from those years in pre-construction? Because I think for the people that truly take the time to learn in the sales center, not only you get to learn, but also to meet a lot of interesting people. So a few takeaways from that.
For me, the biggest lesson in new development is that the broker is your client. When you work in new development, 90% of your deals are brought by another broker. So it really taught me how to respect the co-broker, how to kiss up to the co-broker, because they're your clients.
Right, right. So anything else from the pre-construction? Did you get to meet good end users, clients that allow you to develop your listing business in the later years?
For sure. I mean, once you work on a project, you will forever be remembered as that in-house salesperson. There are people that worked on a building 20 years ago that are still the most prominent agent in that building today. So you build a core following and you are always going to be known as that expert.
So how do you tell me, and what's a very good question from a lady in our audience that said, all right, what would you do in your first year in business today in 2020? What would that be? What would that advice be to a completely new agent in the business?
Well, I give this advice very often, and that would be to join a team.
Okay, why?
Because I think real estate is a complicated business. I know there's this myth out there that we make so much money and it's so easy and it's so glamorous, but it's not, you know. And I think having a team, you have somebody every day that keeps you accountable, that gives you structure, that gives you leads, that lets you hold open houses and just kind of keeps your head like in a good place, because it's so easy as a salesperson to get negative and to just, you know, to be down on yourself. And being in a positive team environment, seeing other people do deals, saying, okay, this could be me in 3 years. And also just having someone to be able to ask questions to, you know, and say, how do I do this contract? What do I say at this appointment? I think that, yeah, that's my advice.
So one of the biggest problems we have in this industry is the type of agreement we have with our broker, which is the independent contractor agreement, all right? Which is you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, and usually we never do anything, right? So joining a team is a huge advantage because you have that accountability. And if you join a team with experience, it's even better because you're learning from that team. Also, when you you want to get a listing, it's much easier to present yourself as a part of a team than a solopreneur, right? So there are three aspects, three sides to this business. The number one is the technical, how to generate leads and how to convert those leads, right? The second part, it's all about marketing and developing those skills. And the third part is the mindset. I would say that most...
I agree. Those three are good.
Right? Those are the key, right? And most people fail at the mindset. Yes, we can teach you here, and you have it. Most of you are members of our organization in the training. We can teach you the marketing and the sales skills. But the mindset is where most people fail. A lot of people join our courses. You call them a month later, I haven't done anything, I've been too busy. When you have a team, there's an accountability that keeps you, for your own sake, keeps you in place. Any other advice for that new agent? Very, very important, join a team.
I mean, there's a lot of advice. I think it's important to take care of your mental health. You know, this is a stressful business. People take a lot out of us. They expect us to be not only their real estate agent, but also their, psychologist at times. I think it's important to have some sort of outlet, whether it's working out or, seeing your own therapist, right. Whatever it is, to make sure that your mindset stays right because people can get abusive.
Yeah. So in your case, what do you do to relax, to escape?
Sure. I try to do a 5-minute morning meditation. Okay. I find that on the days where I do it, I tend to have a slightly more positive day. Okay. Naturally, I work out when I can, but I'm not as religious about it as some people. I try to go 3 times a week. I see a healer, a spiritual healer, to get rid of some of the bad juju that can get left behind.
Most of us need that. Okay.
Yeah, those would be. Yeah, and I try to take some time for myself. Like put my phone away.
Tell me a typical day for you.
Sure.
At what time you wake up, get started in your business, until what time you work.
I'm kind of a late riser. I get up at 8:15.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Okay. I mean, for me, I work late. I'll do emails till midnight.
Okay.
Because I've always been more of a night owl.
Okay. Fair enough.
So I'll work late and I'll get up a little bit later. Okay. Naturally, if I can take a few minutes for myself in the morning, I do. Some days I just jump on emails right away. My days are usually structured more like I like to have one day in the office on Monday. Monday is the day that I try not to take too many appointments or none at all if it can be avoided, so I can set up my team. Okay. So that I can have that meeting with my team on Monday and we decide, okay, this week we're prospecting this building and you're holding this open house and I'm holding this broker's open and I'm with a buyer this day, and just create structure for everyone. So Monday I try to make my office day, and then if I don't return to the office the rest of the week, I'm happy about it because I know that means I'm out there, I'm meeting someone for lunch, I'm at a listing appointment, I'm walking a lot, I'm prospecting. Okay. And I try to also break up my day by neighborhoods. If I know that, today I'm in South of Fifth, tomorrow I'm in Bal Harbor, that also lets me focus on, all right, I'm in Bal Harbor, let me reach out to those 2 people I've been prospecting in Bal Harbor. Okay. And yeah, that seems to be a structure that's working for me lately.
How many people do you have in your team right now?
I have 2 full-time admin people. I have an office manager. She's actually more fancy, my director of operations. Okay. I have a marketing manager, and then I have a transaction coordinator. She works more as needed as we're processing deals, so she doesn't sit in my office. And then I have 4 agents that I consistently co-list with, or they're my showing agents.
So what's your number one method for prospecting?
Right now, I've gotten to a place in my career where my phone is ringing more than I need to make the call, which is pretty amazing. I'm certainly not trying to take that for granted and get lazy with my prospecting, but it is quite nice that I would say once a day I get a new lead.
Okay.
But I still do all the traditional stuff. Every weekend we're holding open houses. Every month I'm sending at least 5 mailers. I'm consistently making calls to expired listings. All the traditional stuff, it's still, you know, the key. It's still our bread and butter. It's still the stuff that works if you're consistent about it. Yeah.
So there are 4, and I want to take you through those 4 marketing channels, right? What we call the 4 marketing. Right. Marketing. What's the difference between marketing and selling? Marketing is everything we do out there, whether it's online or offline, to generate that lead prospecting, right?
Sure.
And selling is what we do once we have the opportunity to have that lead on the phone or face to face, right?
Okay.
So there are 4 quadrants of marketing. Number 1, it's email, which, by the way, you do an amazing job with email. How many emails do you send a week?
I try to send 4. I try to do it every other day.
Right.
You know, I don't want people to unsubscribe if it's too often.
And for most people, would say 4 is too many. Some top agents do 1 or twice a day.
Well, what I'm doing actually,
Okay.
I'll give a little bit of my tricks. I have multiple lists.
Okay.
So there are some lists that I really don't want to annoy. Like, for example, in my database, I have the Forbes 500 list. So those people, I try to only email once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Local brokers who are, you know, I'm always in their face, always in my face.
And you're their friend, so.
Yeah, I'll touch them every day. I'll
Okay.
send them stuff twice a day.
Okay, so I'm in your brokers list.
You're in my brokers list.
I don't know why I'm not in the Fortune 500.
I'm not ashamed to offend you with too many emails.
Listen, I'm not. I think that it's all about frequency and consistency.
Yeah.
All right? People will unsubscribe regardless of who you are. It will happen.
Yes, they just they want to see their inbox at 0.
Right. Yeah.
So I try not to take it personally
Okay.
when someone unsubscribes.
Add me to your 500 Fortune 500 list.
I will think about it.
All right, so that's number 1, email marketing, right? That's fortunately, that's the one that works the most for most agents, and is fortunately the cheapest one,
Yeah.
right? There's no reason for you guys not to have an email marketing system. I'm gonna give a plug-in to Octopus Agent with you guys. We have that system for you with the content, the automation, the frequency, and the consistency. That's number 1. But if you're using any other system, you know it's not expensive. Second is social media, which, by the way, you do very well.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about social media.
Social media, I mean, it's become pretty much standard, but I still try to categorize it as something different than the phone calls and the open houses, because I do feel that it is our newest and most powerful tool. It definitely has been an incredible asset for me when I got serious about it, I would say 2 years ago, and I really focused on my Instagram. I had 1,000 followers. Now I have 31,000 followers. But that's, you know, to some people that might sound high, to others it might sound low, but I have an incredible rate of engagement. And most of the people I'm engaging with are in the business. You know, they're either in real estate or a supplement business like design or general contracting or mortgages, or they're fluid individuals that I constantly want to stay in touch
Okay.
with. Last year I made a sale from Instagram. I sold a $24 million house through a connection I made on Instagram, not exactly to the buyer directly, but to their broker. And I sold the house before I even put it in the MLS because I connected with their broker on a mutual page that we were both using to promote listings. So I spend the most money right now on Instagram. I also spend the most time on Instagram because I do my own, which I don't necessarily recommend to everyone because that's why I'm up till midnight. I'm doing my Instagram. But I'm passionate about it. It's my one creative outlet. I feel like I can get, you know, artsy about it and show a little bit of my personality, which you can't really do with the more traditional methods. And I highly recommend that everyone in this room has an Instagram account that they use to promote their business.
Now, time out. Please listen to what she just said. She said spend, but I would say invest.
That's a better word.
Money, right? If you're only posting, if you only post, you see that the engagement is about what, 30 to 40 people, and they're always the same people. Your family members and your friends, who the majority are real estate agents. Got it? So in social media, it's a great outlet. It's a great source of, for lead generation, but you need to pay to reach the right audience. Very, very, very important, right? So that's number 2. We talk about email marketing. Then we talk about social media. For Dina, Instagram works very well. From some other agencies, Facebook, all right? For some other people, it's LinkedIn. last week I had my social media coach on an interview here, and we're doing a lot of things with LinkedIn right now. I haven't seen the results yet,
Cool.
all right, but it looks promising, all right? So next week we're gonna air that interview. So number 3 is retargeting. So there are 4 quadrants of marketing, right? Email, we talk about social media, then retargeting. Are you doing any type of retargeting or not right now?
Retargeting ads?
Meaning, yeah, retargeting, exactly.
I think that's more of a Facebook thing.
Okay.
What do you mean? Actually?
So what happens is we do a lot of retargeting in terms of if you go to CNN, once you go to our site and then you don't do anything, but you just click on a very specific,
yes.
and then that ad will follow us. Our page will follow you in different
That's actually something that I want to work on this year, because in our business, there's always more that we can be doing, right? Every day I feel like I got a lot done, but I also didn't get many things that I wanted to get done. So one thing that I actually want to amp up this year is my follow you ads.
Okay, there you go, and that's retargeting, right? You go to a pair of shoes, you don't buy the shoes, you go to CNN, Fox News, and you see the shoes, right?
Yes.
So what we want is to be everywhere, right? So when you open the email, there I am.
Sure.
Okay. So when you go to social media, I'm in social media, right? When you go online, there I am again, social and online, and then offline advertising, which I know you do too.
Yeah, I think it's important that you don't try to do everything. You know, if you wake up and say, okay, today I need to do a magazine ad, I need to do an open house on Sunday, I need to send a mailer, I need to do retargeting ads, and I need to do my Instagram and Facebook, I think you'll get overwhelmed. You know I certainly do. So if it's like what my team tries to do is we try to set up goals per quarter. You know, all right, this quarter we're going to update our listing presentation. The next quarter we're going to hire a new social media company, so I don't have to do it all myself. The following quarter, hire a technology person to help with retargeting. I think part of the process, since we don't really have a boss and there's no one saying, all right, okay, this week you get this task done, I think it is really important to prioritize and itemize and also see what's within your budget. Because if you try to do everything at once, like anything, it's bound that you get very little done.
Very good point, and that's what we tell you guys do in coaching, right? 1 project per quarter. Master email marketing.
I didn't know you were saying that.
Yes, one project, a marketing channel per quarter. Let's start with email marketing. It's the cheapest, it's the fastest one, it's the most productive, right?
Yeah, but email marketing, the most difficult thing about it is your own time and creating the lists. And when I have a new agent join my team, the first thing I say to them is go through your phone and make a list of 100 people that we can now call your database.
Exactly.
And if you want to go one step further and do the list that I do, which is, have your list of, friends and family, high net worth individuals, local brokers, that costs you nothing. It's just your time.
Right. So, and we call it the Project 250, right? At least 250 people. It's very similar, as you can see. So you master email marketing in 1 quarter, then you master social media in the 2nd quarter, right? Or Instagram first and then on Facebook or vice versa, and then you go to retargeting. And then after a year, you have 4 very good lead generation tools.
Yeah.
Because the last one is offline marketing, which is open houses, postcards, magazines, which you also do. Right?
I do. I don't do too many magazines, in all honesty, because in 14 years, I've received 1 lead from a magazine. Magazine ads, to me, they're nice, they're pretty, and my sellers like to see them, but do I get calls from them?
Completely agree.
No.
It's just some branding, right? And if you have the extra money to do that, for some people it works, but you can it's very difficult to see the return, direct return from
Whereas
magazines.
on Instagram, what I do, I'm able to target, and that's what I thought you meant with target. I'm able to target, when I do a sponsored post, New York, Chicago, California, the states that we know so many of our buyers are coming from because of the tax legislation. I'm able to see who viewed my post. I'm able to send them a follow-up message. And it's all for a fraction of a cost of a print magazine ad, which I don't know who looked at my ad in their dentist office.
Exactly.
So it's very little return on the investment, whereas with Instagram, I get a lead a day, sometimes more.
What about postcards?
I do them consistently. I have made 1 sale from a postcard probably 8 years ago.
Okay.
It was a nice sale, so I never forget that.
Okay.
So I still stay consistent with postcards. There are people that are not online. I know it's shocking, and who are not on social media, and they do kind of rely on their snail mail to see what's going on in the market. So I'm pretty consistent. I'm sending 3 to 5 mailers a month.
What about open houses?
Open houses right now during the best months of the year, December through April, we have open houses every weekend.
Every single weekend. Open houses every single weekend. The question is, how many open houses are you doing a week? It's a free source of sellers leads. I mean, it's so important.
I mean, you don't know who's walking in through the door.
Right.
You know, it could be buyers leads. They might not want to buy the exact house that you're holding open. It could be the neighbors who could turn to sellers. It could be just looky-loos. But that's like anything with prospecting, right?
Frank, you had a question, right? Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to repeat it because I have the mic. So what's the biggest objection, Frank is asking, the biggest objection from buyers and sellers right now, 2020?
Well, I would say the biggest objection from both buyers and sellers is always dollars and cents. Sellers always think that their property is worth more and they want you to fight for their price. Right. And buyers always want to offer less than I think that they should be offering. Yep. So it's always down to... So how many, by the way, very good. So how many objections are there? Anybody? You said 8. 8, very good. 8. You see, those are my people. 8 I like
objections.
it.
You see, 8 objections. I guarantee you from sellers, you're only going to get 8 objections. And this is recorded so you can see it again. Number 1, it's pricing, what you just said. Number 2 is very similar to price. It's money. It's commission. Number 3 is what? It's comparison. I want to compare you to other agents. Number 4 is actually a fail on our part to pre-qualify the client. All right, it's authority.
This is so good. Is this like can you send me this
No,
over?
this is yours.
This is good.
Right? So you're gonna get that, right? The authority. I want to talk to my wife first. Number 5 is just escape technique. Let me think about it. Number 6, and you get, I'm sure you get that all the time because you're working with such a high net worth individuals, is I don't need to sell.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Right?
Oh, yes, that's a good one.
They don't need to, right? Number 7 is I'm satisfied with what I'm doing, right? I have a for sale sign. In your case, you work with the ultra luxury, so you might not get that one very often. You might get this one very often. The last one, which is bring me a buyer and I'll pay you the commission, right? I don't know if at your level you still get that. But for most people in the $500,000, $300,000, bring me a buyer and pay you the commission, which is the last one. They don't want to compromise.
Well, they don't want to sign a listing.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Exactly. See, there are only 8 objections. And I challenge the people watching this show. Think about any other objection, and I guarantee you it's gonna be a variation of what you just said, right? Any other objection that you get in a consistent basis.
I mean, you really covered them, you know.
Okay.
But with buyers, I mean, buyers are very difficult. The market is shifting right now. I am definitely seeing in Miami Beach that there's a little bit more of a balance between buyers and sellers. I don't want to fully announce a seller's market because I think we're not quite there. But buyers cannot make offers 20-30% below list price like maybe they could have been doing 3 years ago when we were in a full decline. Right. So it's just always balancing expectations. Right. You know, I know this is what you think and this is what you believe, but I've been doing this for X many years and this is what I think is happening, and I'm having those conversations all day long.
What percentage of your business are buyers and what percentage are sellers?
That's a great question. I would probably say 60-40.
60-40.
60 listing, 40 buyers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So last year you did over $100 million in sales.
Yes, just at 100,
right?
exactly.
So 60% probably in listings?
That sounds fair,
right?
yeah.
Cool. All right, so good. Next question. Any other question? Have time for 2 more questions? Yes, please. Okay, so how we transition from the $500,000 properties to that multi-million, and I suggest that you go to Dina's website, which we're going to give it to you at the end. It's very impressive. You go 24, 23, 18 million, 17 million, 15 million, and beautiful properties. So how do you transition from the...
For me, it was organically. I've been doing this for 14 years. There are agents out there, and great for them, but some of them come from very wealthy families, and they will have the rich uncle and the rich father, and things will fall into place a little easier for them. I'm an immigrant. We came from Russia when I was 7 years old, so there was no one ever that made my path a little bit easier. I worked my way all the way up from $1,200 a month rentals to $25 million listings now, but for me it was a natural progression. And early in my career, when I lost the big deal, I just said to myself, okay, it wasn't meant to happen this early for me. And I reframed my mindset that, all right, well, if I had made a $10 million deal in my second year of real estate, that would have completely actually screwed me up. Because when someone called me with a $500,000 listing, I would think that I'm too big for that, you know? So I feel like, you know, my path was like this, you know, and luxury hit for me when it was meant to hit for me. When I would meet with sellers and they saw that I was of a certain level of my career, of experience, of maturity, they felt more comfortable giving me the largest asset that they own to represent. So there's no shortcut. I mean, now I think with social media, it can be a little bit easier because, you know, anyone can now post houses that are very beautiful and very expensive that maybe even look like it could be their listings, you know? So I think with social media, you could actually speed up the trajectory. But for me, really, it took like a good 10 plus years to get there.
I've been doing this for 22 years, and I hear a lot of answers. I think that what I just hear right now, I've never hear that be explained that way before. People think that it's about the lead, and I always talk about the lead. It's never about the lead. Oh, the lead from whatever company or social media, they are cold. No, they are not cold. We are the ones that are cold. But the way she framed it right now, I'm going to use that in the future because it was so powerful. Please understand what she just said. It was a progression, and I was getting better listings because I was prepared. I was ready at the time. Got it? So understand that it's not about the lead. You bring me a $50 million commercial client ready to sign a check for me, and I will lose that lead because I don't know anything about commercial. It's just a fact. No, but I've been doing this for 22 years. I don't know anything about commercial. The client will stand up from my office and leave right away because he will sense it immediately. So you went from 3 to 5 to 700, developing your knowledge. Understand, and that was what I got from one of my mentors, is that once you open your mouth, the whole world finds out exactly who you truly are. And then you're at 300 and at 500, and that confidence. We are not selling properties. Where are we selling? Confidence. That's all we're selling. Properties, they can go on their own.
I'm going to use that one from you.
It's the truth, right? We are not selling real estate. We are selling confidence.
Well, we're selling ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah, and ourselves is this knowledge, right? It's not being, oh, I'm a nice person. People like me. It's not about that. You don't go to the doctor because you like the doctor. You go to the doctor because he's an expert. Got it?
I think it can be both.
Yeah,
I think people want to like their agent.
Definitely. But it has to be both, right? But especially for listings, your best friends, and you know it, I'm not talking about anybody in particular, your best friends are listing with somebody else. And definitely they like you more than the other agent. But the perception, and usually the reality, is that the other agent knows much more about the area than the actual person.
And it's hard to convert your friends, you know.
Right.
That we could have a whole seminar on its own. It's just hard. It's hard to convert the people that may see you as just their, drinking buddy or the person they grew up with.
Right.
They don't necessarily, it's not easy to convert friends, sure.
I got time for one more. Yes, Jerome. So the question is, are you now that at this stage in your career, after 14 years, are you expanding your operation into other type of real estate assets? I think that's the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, the answer is no. Okay. I'm really a one-trick pony. I own a bunch of real estate. It's all in South Beach and Miami Beach. So I really practice what I preach, and my husband and I just bought a house in the Venetian Islands. The Venetian Islands, I've sold 42 houses on. And now when I meet with the clients and say, oh, I also own a house here, I'm really just showing, just like when you meet with a financial advisor and they say, I've invested my own money into this stock I'm pitching you or investment or whatever. I'm invested in South of Fifth and the Venetian Islands, the two neighborhoods that I'm really the most prominent in. I own, a good amount of real estate in. And that is safe for me because I view it as, all right, now my money is not in the bank. It's not in some stock that I don't understand. It's in the Bank of the Venetian Islands.
Specialty.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
So that's what we talk about, right? Specialty. Who makes more money, the general doctor or the specialist? The specialist, right? Right? And he says, I can only perform surgery in the right foot. I don't know how to do anything else.
This is great. Right? I feel like I'm doing so much stuff right. Orlando's
but you're the expert in Miami Beach. You truly are. And you live in the Venetian Islands.
But you guys are lucky because I never had a coach like this. So for me, it took so many trial and errors of doing stuff wrong. So to have Orlando kind of paving the shortcut for you, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So good for you.
So thank you. So here's the thing. We want to be not in the specialist, but we want to become Dina. Who makes more money? The doctor, the specialist, or Dr. Oz from TV? Dr. Oz. Because he says celebrity. Got it? Right? So maybe you come to Coral Gables or you go to Aventura and you don't know Dina, but in Miami Beach, you know Dina. Got it? And she says celebrity to her list. Does that make sense? And you don't need millions of dollars to do that. You don't need to be on TV. You don't need to be on radio. What you need is to make sure that you have a list of people that you can target on a consistent basis so you can position yourself as the expert of choice, right? Dina, anything, how can we find you? On social media, your website?
My social media handle is Golden Dina because my name is Dina Goldentayer. Please tag me in any of your posts. I'd love to repost them because I don't have anyone filming me today.
Okay, no, we'll give you the recording. Don't worry about it. Golden Dina.
Yes.
Right, that's Instagram.
Yes.
Website?
Yeah, I have a website. It's DinaGoldentayerMiami.com. It's fine. It's a fine website, but I get so few leads from my website, and I get so many leads from my Instagram. Again, my website's pretty, but it's not. It's
not your lead source.
It's not optimized to do what other sources of lead sources do for me. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. One more question. Anybody?
Yeah, what's your favorite project in pre-construction?
Oh.
My favorite project
in pre-construction
is the project that I represent, 87 Park by Renzo Piano. Renzo Piano is a world-famous Pritzker Prize-winning architect. Our penthouse was asking $45 million, and we sold it. If you drive by it, it really stands out because in front of it, it's a park.
Yep.
So it is literally an oceanfront building that looks like it's on top of Central Park. And our south side units, we sold out at $3,000 a foot, which is a record for all of Miami. And it's completed, so you're welcome to come by and tour it anytime.
Yep. Are you still there in the project?
The project's completed,
Right.
so we only have like 7 units to sell, but I'm happy to provide all the information and make sure to meet you guys if you'd like to come.
Right, it's 87 Park.
Yes.
I highly suggest to all of you who are local in Miami, there's a lot of people that are not watching from Miami, but to understand also South Beach, right? From South Point to 23rd, 23rd to 63rd is Mid Beach, 63rd to 78.
87th
Right.
is the last street in Miami
87 and then 87 to Bal Harbor.
Surfside.
87 to 96,
Yeah.
it's Surfside, and 96 to the bridge is Bal Harbor. You need to understand, they're completely different, by the way.
It's a great market to know on the periphery because it is the American Riviera.
Right.
So even if you focus on a different market as your main farm area, the beach will always be the beach, and you may have someone fly in that says, I want a condo in the ocean, and at least this way you know the top buildings. You know?
And just, I highly suggest you go, you rent a city bike, all right? And you go literally from South Point, right, to Bal Harbor, 96. And it's a completely different vibe, design, buildings, right? From South Point to 23rd, 23rd to 63rd. Everything is different, all right? So Dina, it's been, again, my pleasure
Thanks for
having you in the Miami Real Estate Show. We got to have you again, a lot of good tips. And until next time, make it a very, very productive day. This show has been brought to you by Pearl and Title, by Q Capital Mortgage, and of course by our Real Estate Black Box. Here you guys have it. You have the content, the email marketing, the training for lead generation, lead conversion, everything included. All right, guys, thank you very much for being here today. Dina, it's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.